everybody. I'm Joey Trombley calling today's game, and to my left is Joe the Fish Poisson. He's calling the game with me today. On camera is Calvin Castine, and to my extreme right is Kathy Ryan, as she always is every game. She tapes the games for Nolan and Megan, as we well know. It is a beautiful last day of summer here in September at the George Brendler Field. It's the 22nd of September, and we've had a gorgeous September weather-wise to watch soccer games, and today is no different. Today is going to be a very interesting game between the Ogdensburg Blue Devils. They come from the western part of the state. They're a B school, having a very good season right now. They're 7-1. Chazy comes into this game being a Class D powerhouse. They're also 7-1. Chazy, Joe, had a really tough week this week. They had two big teams coming into town. Well, Westport came into town, then Chazy went to play E-Town, and it was a big week. They came up with two victories, and you were at those games.
I feel that they're playing some of their best soccer of the season right now. You can see the kids gelling, getting better and better, getting more comfortable with each other. I think this is going to be a good game to test them right here. Nolan Ryan just misses a nice cross.
Kenny Boris just missed that ball, and at the Elizabethtown game earlier this week, 2 days ago, down in Elizabethtown, it was the hustle of Kenny Boris that really scored those two goals. He came in on the far side off a powerful shot from Nolan Ryan. The goalie made the initial save. The rebound was there, but it was the hustle of Kenny Boris to score that goal. And then on the second goal, it was again hustle, where Kenny Boris knocked in that second goal.
Kenny Boris was due to just his tenacity that he scored that second goal. That second goal was in the front, scramble, pounded off the keeper, came back to him, and he put it in. Just showed that his total hustle the whole game was great.
And what's amazing with Kenny Boris, this is his first time at the varsity level. I think he took last year off from playing soccer, and he's come up, and so far early in the season, he has been an impact player for the Eagles.
The Eagles are used to controlling the game again. They're getting back to their skill. They got to keep it down today on the ground because of the wind factor. The ball should be on the opposite side of the field of us today just due to the wind. Hopefully the Eagles can keep it on the ground and distribute the ball on both sides.
Well, the strength of the Chazy game is their passing game, and whenever you see Chazy play, you watch their passes and their heads. Everyone almost seems to have a purpose. And there's a nice pass from Racine over to Jason Baker back down the wing, and there's Kenny Boris. Kenny Boris being guarded by number 1 Zach Dodge, or number 8, and that would have been Jake Hackett. Hackett wins that ball, and the big gun for Ogdensburg, we can't discount that, and that would be number 16, Gene Boyer.
Gene Boyer is leading the section in the section 10 scoring in goals with assists. I believe they have eight games into the season.
That's correct.
He's involved in well over 30% of their goals, either with assists or goals themselves.
And of course, they have Gene Boyer, and then of course we know our big gun would be Nolan Ryan. And we've said this before on the telecast, Joe, Nolan Ryan is only 9 goals away from breaking the state record for the amount of goals scored from all the soccer players in every level in New York State, which is pretty impressive.
Nolan Ryan's been impressive since he was in 8th grade. We're really going to miss him here in Chazy when he's gone. He's been phenomenal. This year, the scoring is more distributed because you find the opposite teams, they're keying in on him. They're guarding him. This guy here, they're not very far from him all the time. But you're still finding Ryan making beautiful passes, receiving the ball. He's still doing it all. But he's also keyed on. These guys are defending him extremely well. But you have Stetson Fields, they're scoring. Kenny Boyer is scoring, or Boris, is scoring. Baker, the scoring is much more distributed, I think, among the team.
Well, you look at number 5 here, Jordan Barrier. A couple telecasts, I kept saying a 9th grader. That's what I thought he was. But he's only an 8th grader, and he has found the back of the net a few times this year. So he's another young striker that has come up through the ranks for Chazy, and he's making noise at the varsity level, which is pretty impressive for an 8th grader.
You're going to find Chazy's going to be bringing him in more and more, I think, to get him seasoned for the following seasons that are coming up. We're going to be losing some definite seniors that's going to hurt us, and they're going to have to bring these younger kids up. And Coach McCullough does a wonderful job doing that. He gives them a few minutes of playing time. Actually, Barrier had a lot of good quality minutes against Elizabethtown, which is the other powerhouse team in the MVAC.
Well, it's our chief rival, there's no doubt. I mean, let's face it, both teams, they marked that calendar after last year when E-Town beat Chazy in the regional finals, or in the finals for the area. And both teams had the calendar circled, and there was a big crowd down in Elizabethtown. I would say that game Chazy probably dominated about 90% of the midfield. Their passing game was really on. But I'll tell you, E-Town has a wonderful goalie. He was only an 8th grader. He reminds me of a young Jeff Kroiwanzik.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, that kid he kept them in the game. He was phenomenal. I haven't seen a goalkeeper play like that against Chazy in I don't know how long. He was getting shots on point blank shots. He was making some wonderful saves. He definitely kept them in the game.
Well, Ogdensburg comes into this game. They're a Class B school, Chazy a Class D school, and it's nice that Ogdensburg comes down to play this game, because the reality of it is a Class B playing a Class D school, the Class B school has nothing to gain by playing us. People think they should beat us, but of course, the reputation of the Chazy soccer program. So if Ogdensburg beats us, we can say, well, we lost to a B school. Ogdensburg loses, and it's like, how did you lose to a D school?
That is true, but it just shows the caliber of play that Chazy does want to play. Back when I was playing in the 70s, George Brendler was doing the same thing, and it continues on. You want to play better teams, that way you do get better.
That's right. You got to play tougher teams. And Ryan, nice play defensively, and it's Racine giving chase. Racine trying to win the ball. It's a battle, and it's won by the Ogdensburg defensive player, who pushes it up, and it goes to midfield. It's Kyle LaFountain, and LaFountain, you can tell his senior leadership back there. He reminds me of Jordan Spiegel. Oh,
Kyle LaFountain has played since he was a freshman. Coach McCullough has asked him to play offense. He's asked him to play halfback. He's asked him to play defense. He's played them all with equal skill, and he has probably the best left foot in the league. But his speed on defense is, you can see the quality of his defense, his leadership. You're right. He has a good senior defense around him though. They've been working together for a couple of years now, working the kids in and out. His defense, he's more than likely the best defensive person in the MVAC.
Well, I look at Kyle back there, and what's nice about him, he doesn't get rattled. Here's a kid who has 2 state championships under his belt, and when you're back there in the sweeper position, you got to have the wherewithal to not panic back there, and he definitely brings that to the table.
That comes with the seasoning that Coach McCullough has given him since he was a freshman, though. I mean, this is nothing new to him. He's been in state championship games. He's been in countless playoff games. Playing always brings his A game every game. He wants to play.
Well, we talked about a nice feed inside to Kenny Boris, and it's just a little too far from Nolan Ryan, and it's picked up by Mike Lucky, the goalie for Ogdensburg. He throws it out toward the wing, and it goes to their big guy, Gene Boyer. He pushes it back to their defense, and the ball goes toward midfield. It's Fields, pushes it up for Baker. Baker one-times it to Ryan. And one thing that Coach McCullough does in his practices, they play one-possession games, and you can see that in the game that they do practice it during their practices.
Well, it makes it easier when you're playing that small field game during practices consistently. To come to the bigger field, you have a lot more room, you have more time, because you're playing against basically even the second string on the Chazy team is better than a lot of first string, and the second string is playing against first string players and vice versa. They're getting good quality playing time against the better players in the league, and they're going to do nothing but get better. I'm watching these kids gel especially over the last couple of games. They're getting more comfortable with each other.
Well, Coach McCullough earlier in the season he said, watch this team. He goes, as every game progresses, they'll get progressively better. He goes, last year's team, you knew what they had. I mean, they came off 2 straight state championships. The majority of the nucleus was there, and he goes, you knew what you had. He goes, they weren't getting any better. They had got as good as they were going to get. But this team, he said, watch out, and we have seen that every game.
I'm watching this Boyer, who's their big scorer. He seems to be almost kind of hanging back, not like a normal striker would be that scores this many goals. I'm wondering what type of goals he scores. He looks like a big kid. I don't know if he scores them in close or from out to 18, 20 yards. Well, I don't know, but they have him up now.
I'm guessing there's a few headers thrown in there too.
I would imagine that would be some of them.
He's a tall gentleman out there. That would be number 16, Gene Boyer, for, well, actually, is it 16? It's number 6.
Number 16.
What number right here, yep, 16, yes. 16, Gene Boyer. Yep. Okay, Chazy ball. Right here in the early going here, we're at about the 10-minute mark. Chazy has controlled the possession game so far. We're still tied at 0, but they have controlled the possession game.
It's gonna be like that, I think, for a while. Till these teams feel each other out, they get comfortable. Chazy's just coming off a big game with E-Town. It's kind of draining, after a couple of big games. Actually, one with Westport, which was undefeated, I believe, at the time, and another one against E-Town, which had one loss. That was against Westport, and it's, to get up for every game, it's hard. It's hard. I mean, these kids, they'll get more comfortable as the game goes on. I think you're going to see them. They put together a couple of runs already that were close. Hopefully they can finish it off here soon.
But what a week it has been for the Eagles. At Westport, the Westport Eagles came into this George Brendler Field undefeated. And that game, Chazy in the first, I've never seen this watching all these games. They had outshot Westport in the first half alone, 29-0.
29-0. That showed with the tenacity of the kids had. That was actually their best game, I believe, that they had played up to that time.
Well, they were ready for it. I mean, Westport was coming in here undefeated. It was like, hey, let's get it on. And two teams undefeated. As far as league play goes, it was first place was on the line, and Chazy stepped up. And then Thursday, the crowd down in Elizabethtown, a very spirited crowd from both sides, and the players from both teams stepped it up. E-Town had nothing to be ashamed of. It almost reminds me of the Red Sox and Yankees playing of the rivalry that E-Town and Chazy has.
That's what you normally get with those two teams. They mark their calendars. You know who's coming up when they're playing, and that's the way it should be. I mean, E-Town's always brings an A game, and they have nothing at all to be ashamed of as that game. That game was good. It was a good, hard-fought game. Chazy definitely controlled it, but they had their chances too. Elizabethtown did.
Yes, they did. It's Trombley will send the ball in toward the net, and Lucky easily goes into Lucky's hands. Chazy has some nice ball movement there. Fields wisely tried to switch fields, send it back to Racine, and then the shot goes into Lucky, and he saves it. And there's LaFountain gets stripped from behind by Boyer, their big goal scorer. It is LaFountain with the kick here. He'll send it into the Ogdensburg end, and the ball is sent back into the Chazy end. Trombley's there. He'll head it up over to Baker. Baker has control, looking around. He has Racine on the right side. Racine pushes it to the open space to Kenny Boris, and it's knocked out by number 8, Jake Hackett. Throw in for Chazy. Nolan Ryan. Nolan Ryan on the throw-ins is almost like a corner kick when he throws those balls in.
Nolan Ryan has a phenomenal throw. I don't think they've used it in the past years that he's been playing, but this year they are definitely using him for throw-ins, which some people or might suspect. They say he's the goal scorer, put him in the middle, but look at the chances that he's creating just with that right there. I mean, that's just another tool and weapon that they have.
Well, Trombley gets it in real quick over to Nolan. Nolan with the ball being guarded by number 1, Dodge. Dodge knocks it out. And it's another throw in for Chazy with Ryan deep in the Ogdensburg end, almost to the end line, almost a corner kick here. But Ryan with the throw in, he's got Trombley to his left, and he'll throw it into the box. Header, and it is Luckin comes up. Big play because Kenny Boris was right there.
Kenny Boris is around the ball. He has a nose for the ball. He reminds me like a Josh Fredericks, when Josh Fredericks used to play, the hard-charging kind of player. Goes for the ball, doesn't back down. I mean, you have to have that type of player if you're going to be moving Ryan around like he did against E-Town the other evening. Ryan was moved around the field, and it kept E-Town defense off balance. They really couldn't effectively control him. They didn't know which side he was going to line up at, and it worked.
And the ball goes out. It'll be a throw-in for Chazy. Again, Chazy's putting the pressure on. Have not had a real quality shot yet, but they're putting the pressure on, and you just think if they keep this up, it's probably just a matter of time before they find the back of the net.
They've had quality chances here. They've had about 4, and I think you're going to see them settle down and get more. Ogdensburg, really, they haven't had a shot yet on goal. You're going to see a couple of the younger kids coming in here. The Barrier kid, Jordan Barrier, the 8th grader, he's going to be a player to watch out for when he's coming up. He's going to be one of the good ones. There's a nice shot by Fields.
And if you look at the Chattagay Ogdensburg defense, when Fields made that move, there were 4 guys across the back line. So they're packing it in to trying to hold down the Chazy Express.
That's what most teams are going to have to do against Chazy. That's just the way they're going to have to defend against them. They're fast, they're skilled, they pass well. And to leave anybody unguarded, leave your defense up, you're going to get burned. They realize that, especially after the first couple of runs that Chazy's made early in the game. They know what's coming. You see 5 people back here playing defense now. They're really not trying to push the ball up. They're trying to get a long ball, try to get a break, to try to get a goal, I got a feeling.
Well, it's Fields right now. He's at midfield. He'll try to go right side over to Racine. Racine tries to push it back to Trombley. Can Trombley keep it in? He does. Number 16, Boyer coming over. He wisely sends it back over to LaFountain. LaFountain will control. Latchmore way to his left. He's got Reynolds to the center, and he sends it up to Fields. Fields trying to trap it. Baker getting to the ball, and it is a sweeper. Kyle Reynolds with the ball. He goes into the Ogdensburg end over to Nolan Ryan. Ryan being guarded very closely. It's Ryan with the ball. He's got Reynolds to his left. He's got Racine to his right. He's trying to get inside the box. It's Nolan Ryan inside the box. Great individual effort. He sends it across. Oh boy, that was a close call for Chazy. Deflected off a Ogdensburg player into Lucky's hands, and Ogdensburg dodged one there.
Once again, you watch what Ryan does, what he develops. Took it pretty much on his own, went down, beat a couple of people. Made another scoring opportunity. He's done that since he started playing. He's really phenomenal. He's something to watch. Just the things that he does with the ball. Watch his trapping skills, his sense of the field itself.
Well, the reality is, a person of his skill comes around like once in a lifetime for any school. And we've had some great players come through this system, but no one's credentials speak for themselves. And for anybody that hasn't seen him, if you get a chance this year to make it to the George Brendler Field or anywhere they're playing, you owe yourself that treat, because it's not too often we see a player of that caliber come through.
No, and like you were saying, it's a system. It's a system Rob McAuliffe basically has brought here after George Brendler and Tregan had some great years. But Rob has really brought it up to another level. He's brought a system in here that it works.
Well, Joe, you coach at the lower level. You're teaching the town ball level, and Coach McAuliffe actually talks to you coaches out there, kind of what he's looking for, doesn't he?
Actually, a couple of years ago, he came and put on a coaching clinic. He brought, at the time, he brought Nolan Ryan, he brought Seymour Kidd, Justin Seymour, and he brought Jake Spiegel over to show the parents the skills that the kids need to be taught at a fundamental level. And we've been teaching the kids that for approximately 4 years now, and you can see them develop it even at the modified level. The modified level this year, the team has done very well. They're a young team. They're a bunch of 7th graders, a few 8th graders, but they're doing extremely well, and it just goes to show that playing competitive ball year-round, basically, doing the club level down in Albany, we take the kids down, taking them to the indoor soccer, just keeping them playing, keeping them touching the ball, but working on the fundamentals. After it just takes, you watch some of the kids, they're using the moves, they're using each other, they're playing together, and they're doing quite well. There's some kids coming up that are not going to be Nolan Ryan quality. That is once in a lifetime probably, but I believe the teams are going to be just as good, if not better, than some of the teams we've had in the past. Watching these kids come up, they're learning very good skills.
See, nice footwork or nice pass work between Fields and Trombley. It's Fields working his way toward the Ogdensburg end over to Baker. Baker sends it into the left side, headed out, and number 5 trying to get to the ball, Dillingham for Ogdensburg, but the ball goes back toward the box. Barrier trying to get the ball. He's pushed from behind, and it will be a kick. I don't think it's a direct kick, but it's a kick for Chazy. And the referees for today's game is Phelan Miner and Larry Bayshard. Larry Bayshard on the far side and Miner on the near side. And Miner was calling for 10. Tries to push it through to Fields, and it's knocked out. Corner kick. And that's just as effective.
Well, Chazy's definitely have, this is going to be their 3rd corner kick. They've had possession of the game, and it's going to be just a matter of time, hopefully, before they can find the back of the net, because it's like the longer we go without score, she should say Chazy goes without scoring, it helps the other team. They can keep it low scoring, it definitely helps them.
Well, we're approaching the 20-minute mark here in the first half. The score is 0-0. Chazy has controlled the territorial play. They've had definitely the better chances. Beeman has not been challenged yet. Number 3, Mike Frary, is coming into the game for Ogdensburg. And it looks like number 20, it might be even number 20. I'm going to say 20. And but I can't tell. Is it number 20? But they don't have a number 20 on the roster here, so I'm not sure who that is for Ogdensburg who just came out. But the ball is cleared out, and it'll be a throw-in for Chazy. Bayshard says Chazy throw-in. Number 4, Eric Sweeney, getting ready to check in for Ogdensburg right now. It is LaFountain with the ball, pushes it back over to Latchmore. One thing I've noticed too, Joe, in the last 3 or 4 games is that defensive unit, those 4 guys, have really stiffened up and are doing a great job back there defensively.
I've been noticing that. Watching Galen Tremblay, he's playing some of the best soccer he's played. They're like I said, they're coming together, and they're going to do nothing but getting better, barring injuries and other things. I mean, it's just the way that they go. They normally do. Hope they'll reach a peaking, and Coach McCullough right now has them playing several games, and the next week it pushes them a little bit. It'll make them see what they have to do to get better, because you can always use improvement. I don't care how good you are, you can always use improvement.
Well, it is Kenny Boris with the ball right now. He's trying to go up to Nolan Ryan, trying to get Nolan Ryan on a break, but good defensive play by the Ogdensburg Blue Devils. And number 6, Adenocourt, sends it out of bounds way on the left-hand side. It'll be throw-in by Perry Latchmore over to Nolan Ryan. Ryan controls the ball. He's got Baker to his extreme left. He gets it to Baker, or his right, I should say. Baker will let a shot rip, and Lucky is there. It's kind of loose, but he's got time. Ryan just kind of hanging there. Lucky picks it up, and he'll work his way to the 18-yard line, and he will throw it out to number 3, Frary, who just checked into the game not too long ago, and Latchmore controls. He tries to find Fields, and now controlled by Ogdensburg, and knocked away by Latchmore, controlled by Ogdensburg, and it is Reynolds with the ball, pushes it up to Fields. Fields being challenged by their big goal scorer Boyer. Boyer and Fields fighting for the ball, and it is number 5 comes in to help out. Dillingham wins the ball and gets it up over to Frary. Frary trying to push it up over to Boyer. Tremblay falls as he tries to send it over to Latchmore, but Latchmore controls. He tries to find Baker, but controlled by Ogdensburg. McAuliffe is not liking the play of the Chazy players at this point. There is no control, out of control. And it is Baker pushing it up over to Kenny Boris. Boris sending it up. Here comes Ryan. Ryan trying to make the move. Ryan. And Nolan Ryan finishes the play on a beautiful feed from Kenny Boris.
Ryan received that ball. He was going with that ball before he even received it. You watch him. He doesn't stop it when he traps it. He keeps the ball moving. That's one of his trademarks. Actually, several of the kids, that's their trademark. When their trapping skills are superb. They're getting better.
And that was, Joe, was at 17:40 of the first half. What was impressive about that goal was Lucky was going to his left, and Nolan picked up on that and just put just a little slow roller to the opposite side, and Lucky couldn't get to it, and he found the back of the net. How many guys would have sent that over the big net, over the goal?
Very true. You watch Ryan, a lot of his goals, he doesn't have to make the net come off the bars. He can just lob it in sometimes. He'll dribble, he just lay it in. He doesn't have to pound it all the time. But you watch that goal being set up from the defense. The defense set that up, which is what they've been doing more and more of, setting it up from your defense. Instead of just playing defense, your defensive players, they start right into the transition game. And that's what they've been doing better and better at as each game goes by. They're getting more comfortable with each other, spreading the defense from the other team out, because you have to draw them out, because they will pack it in after a while. You spread them out, set your offense up, put it in the corner, put it down the middle, and let your offense go with it.
Well, if you're on the New York State record goal watch, Nolan Ryan's goal has now brought him to within 8 goals of breaking the record we talked about earlier in the telecast.
That is phenomenal. I want to see him do it pretty soon, hopefully.
Well, it would be nice to see him do it at the George Brendler Field, but who knows if it will happen here, but it would be nice to see it happen here. And right now, number 3, Frary with the ball, trying to find number 14, Wing, but it's controlled by Latchmore. Latchmore and Wing fighting for the ball. And Chazy, I thought, was controlling, and it is Fields. He's trying to get over to Baker, but the ball was won by the Ogdensburg player, and it's Frary with the ball being challenged by Latchmore, and Latchmore will be called for a trip on that one. And it will be a direct kick for Ogdensburg here close to the midfield line. And the players for Ogdensburg set up on the offensive end. Chazy sets up on the defensive end. And they're killing a lot of time here before they take the shot. Number 11 lays a big shot in there, Seymour. But the ball's headed out by Latchmore. And LaFountain, it is Baker. Or Beeman. Beeman and number 10 are Brendan Johnson both go up for the ball, but it is Beeman who wins it. And that's the best opportunity that Ogdensburg has had so far, Joe.
I'm watching this defensive unit for Chazy, and that is the only shot that Ogdensburg has had. We have 15 minutes left in the half, and they are dominating once again like they have the last 2 games. Chazy's had, how many goals have they had scored against them this season?
5.
They've had 5 goals. 3 goals, 2 goals with the first team defense in?
Probably.
I would have to say, Coach McCullough, he likes to put the younger guys in. You get a lead, you put them in against Westport. Westport scored a couple of goals. These younger kids, they realize what they have to do to play good defense against a decent team.
Oh, wow. Latchmore lofts one in there. Lucky's waiting, and all of a sudden out of his left comes Nolan Ryan, and a nice play by Lucky for Ogdensburg.
If you put a highlight film of Nolan Ryan's header goals since he's been playing, you'd be watching some spectacular goals with Nolan Ryan. He uses his head literally and figuratively wonderfully. He knows how to play. He's got a sense for the ball.
Well, right now, Ogdensburg's trying to control the ball. You hear their coach, and it's actually Matt Morley's the coach for Ogdensburg. He's telling his players, keep it on the ground. And Ogdensburg's been having trouble doing that, but there's a nice pass over to number 3, Frary, and Tremblay making the move to the outside. Nice move by Tremblay. And he tries to send it out, but Wing knocks it out of bounds, and it will be throw-in for Chazy. And I think Tremblay will take the throw-in. He will. He goes down the line trying to find Barrier. Barrier will push it back to Tremblay. Tremblay chips it to midfield. Kenny Boris giving chase. The ball bounces into the Ogdensburg end. It is Kenny Boris, the ever-hustling Kenny Boris, giving chase. And here comes Nolan Ryan. Nolan Ryan chips the ball away. He's got Ben Baker on the left-hand side. Baker coming in. Oh, outside foot. Nice shot from Ben Baker on a nice feed from Nolan Ryan. He used the outside of his foot, but just over the net. That was actually rather pretty to look at. You can see it develop up here. I was ready to call you Staub, but Joe.
If I could do half the job that Staub did, I'll be happy because I'm twice as good looking.
Well, we do call Staub the gorgeous Spiegel. Staub the gorgeous Spiegel. He's the supervisor. And now you heard it here, self-proclaimed from Joe Poisson.
2 times nothing is still nothing.
Calvin says 2 times nothing, still nothing. We are approaching the 13-minute mark here in the first half. Chazy with a 1-0 lead. I'm Joey Tremblay calling this game with Calvin Castine on the camera. I got Joe the Fish Poisson calling the game with me today here at the George Brendler Field. It is a gorgeous, gorgeous September 22nd here. We've had a gorgeous September the whole month, and as Calvin said, this is the last day of summer, and I had to remind him tomorrow's the first day of fall, so he was rather impressed with that. Would you say, Calvin?
I was amazed that you knew that, Joey.
And actually, I didn't know it until you mentioned it, but I figured it was getting close. But it has been summer-like weather here, and right now it's Tremblay with the ball. He sends it up over to Ryan. Ryan trying to control. He does. Ryan makes a nice move by the Ogdensburg defensive player. He's got Barrier to his right. He's got Kenny Boris to the center. And he also has Jason Baker, but it gets by Baker, and the ball is loose, and it is Ogdensburg. One thing that you see there, number 4, Sweeney just booted that ball out. Again, I'll mention it again, Chazy's passes and their headers are all served with a purpose. Very rarely do you see an errant kick like that.
Well, you're watching them at the beginning of the year. The first game they played against Plattsburgh High. Plattsburgh is they're a state-ranked team. They're really good Class B school from the area. Chazy controlled the game, a good percentage of it. They outshot them. They lost it 3-1. Stetson Fields went out with an injury. that's not an excuse, but you watch them go down as far as their caliber play when Stetson got hurt. But they're getting, instead of kicking the ball out of bounds like they were getting nervous a little bit because PHS had some fast kids on the side. They take nothing from them. They were well-coached, well-skilled team. But you were watching Chazy, they were not as comfortable as you've seen them in the last couple of games. They're getting better and better, and that's what we aim for. It's what you really want to see with the kids.
Well, again, it goes back to there's 5 new players on this team as far as starters. So they lost 5 last year. 5 quality players. You lost a couple MVPs in the Spiegel boys, and so those are some big shoes to fill. But they are definitely playing better as each game goes along here. And also last night, of course, when this tapes, but hats off to Northeastern Clinton. They're still undefeated in the Class B, and they had the big showdown with PHS last night. From what I understand, there was a huge crowd up at the Cougar Country Field up there, and an early goal by Anthony Chiangelo, about a 35-yard bomb, found the back of the net, and they hung on. I say hung on. That goal stood up, and Northeastern won the early showdown in the CVAC. So 2 quality teams and a big victory for Northeastern, and congratulations to them.
Congratulations to Northeastern. They did well last year. They lost in the Section 7 championship game to PHS, so they'll be battling again at least one more time, and more than likely they'll be meeting each other twice. And we would like to see a Northern team to win it. We'd like Chazy Northeastern. Coach Hawksby always has a quality program that he brings to the table. Year after year, they're always the top 1 or 2 teams in that section.
Well, they've had a successful They have a good feeder program like Chazy. Next weekend in Morris, they have their big youth program, if you will. There'll be God knows how many teams there. Last weekend, Chazy had theirs. The rec park was just packed with people. And Calvin, I'm assuming that you taped the game last night?
The Cougar Sports Network was there. Rob Knowles asked if they could do it. So I said, go ahead. They'll have more excitement in their voice than I would. So the Cougar Sports Network covered it. I did go down to check to make sure that they were there. I did the game in
Did you watch the whole game?
No, I did the game in Ellenburg at 4:30. Then I went down there just to make sure they were there. But parking was at a premium. There was up and down Route 276, and there was a lot of folks there.
Yeah, they said, what I read in the paper, they said it was almost like a crowd like the couple years ago in basketball, Saranac and Northeastern, where I've never seen that in a high school game before. Well, Ogdensburg's having their chances, but Trombley's trying to get the ball. He's trying to control. He sends it up, and this is a dangerous play, but way dangerous for the trees, I guess. Went way back there. I thought it was going to go toward Beeman, but the wind obviously helped. It just kept pushing it. Well, we're at the 8-minute 30-second mark here in the first half. Chazy with a 1-0 lead. They have outshot Ogdensburg 9-1 to this point, and that kind of surprises me because I was expecting a much, I don't want to say tougher game, but I thought it'd be a closer game with Ogdensburg.
Good work, Kenny.
And the thing you have to keep in mind, Joe, is that Ogdensburg comes into this game with a 7-1 record. They're in the top of the standings down there. Now, the only thing that we can say, common opponents, if you will, is that both teams have played Canton. Chazy beat Canton 1-0 here, and that was a game that Chazy totally dominated, but they weren't finishing at that point. And then Ogdensburg lost to Canton 2-0.
Yeah, Chazy, like I said, that was the beginning of the year. They were coming together. They're getting better, but I'm surprised with Ogdensburg bringing Mike Ferry into the game as a substitution. He has 5 goals and a few assists. He might be a secret weapon maybe that they like to bring off the bench. Some coaches like to do that. They don't like to show all their hands at first. I remember when Nolan Ryan first started playing as an 8th grader. McCullough would bring him off the bench. And, normally when you bring somebody off the bench, you don't feel that there's a higher caliber player, but he would surprise a lot of kids or a lot of players on the defense when he'd come in. And I haven't really seen that though from Ferry, that domination or speed or keeping a defense off balance like some coaches can do with a player off the bench.
Well, you think about this. This year started for Chazy. They played one of the top teams, Section B school in in PHS, and then they played another top Section B school out west, Canton. So the 2 games of the year were probably the 2 toughest teams that you could start any season off with.
Yeah, oh, definitely. And that's what Coach McCullough wants, though. That's what he wants to see. He wants these kids to test them early, which is why Chazy normally has one of the better programs around. I mean, he doesn't want to play some team where he's going to know that it's not going to be a good quality game. He does this year after year, bringing these teams down to the tournament at the beginning of the season. And I think the teams that come down here want to test themselves, too. That's why they enjoy coming down and playing.
Well, they enjoy a quality game, right? I mean, let's face it, as a fan, it's not fun watching a 9-0 game when it's total domination. It was actually kind of neat to see the game against E-Town, where it was a competitive game for both teams, and we hadn't seen that in like the prior 3 to 4 games.
Yeah, I think the score was not indicative of the game, though. Chazy was putting together passing, scoring. E-Town was having a difficult time making 3 or 4 passes in a row without Chazy disrupting it, where Chazy was just bringing it back methodically, setting it up, moving the ball and switching fields. Like I said, they moved Nolan Ryan around consistently, especially in the second half. McCullough had him moving around the field, to putting him on the left side, putting him on the right side, to keep their defense off balance, opening up more opportunities for the strikers for Chazy. Fields, Baker, definitely Kenny Bulris, who scored his 2 goals. But you saw Coach McCullough putting Jordan Barrier in the second half quite a bit. Jordan Barrier got a lot of quality minutes in that second half.
Not bad for an 8th grader.
Not bad for an 8th grader at all. He plays on the outside. He plays with composure. He doesn't get rattled. He knows where to put the ball, just like there.
Nice pass. Nolan Ryan, and that'll be a push on Ryan.
Unlucky, Nolan. Unlucky.
But you're going to find Coach McCullough putting these younger guys in. There's also Caleb Snide. This young man's going to be coming in also and making his presence known. And there's several kids who are coming up. They're all going to be filtering into the system that is here.
Well, for the fans listening to this game right now, Joe, you're an alumni of Chazy, and actually you're a former player for Coach Brendler back in the 70s, right?
I was fortunate enough to play with for Coach Brendler with some extremely good players. A lot of people don't remember, some of the players. Well, Staub, Staub was one of the scorers for the league.
That's right.
Jeff Lauren, Jeff Lauren was a phenomenal player for 2 years.
He's got a kid coming up, too.
Yes, he's got Brandon. Brandon's another one. Brandon's a 7th grader. He's going to be having some good times out here, I hope, when he's on this field. He's been getting excellent coaching from Chris Waterbury in the Plattsburgh Football Club. Mm-hmm. Several of the boys that age have played for the Plattsburgh Football Club. Coach Waterbury, actually both Coach Waterburys, I should say, they've done phenomenal things with the kids. They do really well with them. They're not going to get better coaching within the Waterburys. That's what those people do for a living, and you can see the kids, especially watch the girls. We don't really talk a lot about the girls when we're watching the boys, but the Chazy girls are...
Oh, they're fun to watch this year.
They are phenomenal. They are phenomenal.
Well, you talk about the Waterburys. Obviously, they're both the coaches for the boys, and I say women and men's at the college level. But it behooves them to work with the youth of this area. But you're seeing it now at the local level because you're getting some local talent going down there, making some noise. And Plattsburgh State this year they had that Ryan Ormsby kid from Peru who graduated last year. Obviously Helen Giroux.
Helen Giroux is doing really well. She's a freshman playing for Plattsburgh State. Chazy alumni. They had a game here a couple of weeks ago, and there was several hundred people here. Pretty much to watch Helen play with Plattsburgh State, and it's a good recruiting tool for Plattsburgh State, and it also exposes the kids to college level, top college level, I should say, soccer.
Well, it was a memorable night for Helen that night because she scored a collegiate goal on her high school field, and that had to be pretty cool.
That was the winning goal she scored also, and it was a nice goal. She laid it in beautiful. I was laughing because I was standing next to her grandfather, Roger Giroux, and we go back quite a few years. I worked for them when I was a kid, and it was nice to sit there next to Roger, and he was getting excited. Actually, I still have the bruise in the back of my leg where he kicked me one time where he got excited.
Well, that's just a proud grandfather. You can't fault him for that.
Oh no. But it was nice though to see the community support. It would be nice actually next year to see maybe the men and the women's team to come down here and play a couple of games. The field definitely is college level field.
Oh, it's got to be one of the nicest pure grass fields in the area.
Oh yeah, for a Class D school, we're very fortunate to have this.
Well, again, it's the support of the community. Now, of course, when this field was put in here, we did have 91% funding from the state, so that helped get it here, but the community supported it.
Oh, the community in Chazy is second to none as far as soccer goes. You see it right through from the youth levels. You have Barb and Craig Drew who are doing phenomenal things, organizing the youth leagues in the fall for the recreation leagues. They also do hockey. They're involved with the kids. Barb and Craig Drew do a phenomenal amount of work with the youth programs.
Well, LaFountain sends it up toward midfield. Baker trying to give chase to it. It's knocked into the Ogdensburg territory, but there is Ben Baker. And Kenny Boris given chase and controlled by number 20. Again, I don't have his name. I don't have him on the roster. But number 7, Fisher with the ball. He sends it up. And the ball is headed up over to number 1, Dodge. Ball knocked back in. Number 6, Denocourt with the ball. And the ball is kind of loose right now, controlled by Ogdensburg to the right side, trying to find their big gun Boyer. And the Chazy defense has done a good job keeping their top gun Boyer from any serious chances so far.
Boyer really hasn't shown a whole lot. They haven't got the ball to him, and when they've got the ball to him, it's been towards the middle of the field, and the Chazy defense have been converging on him and taking it. Galen's playing excellent. Perry's down at the moment.
He's a big kid. He'll get up.
Yeah, Perry Lattimore has stepped up his game for definitely the last couple of games. Perry Lattimore is maturing. I know he's a senior, but Perry Lattimore is playing with a lot more composure.
Well, the first half here at the George Brendler Field comes to an end, and it was total, basically, domination from Chazy. They lead 1-0 on the scoreboard. They've outshot Ogdensburg 10-1, and the corner kicks are 5-0. And we'll be back after the halftime break. And we're starting the second half here at the George Brendler Field here in Chazy on the 22nd of September. It's Nolan Ryan with the ball, trying to work toward the middle of the 18-yard line. Lets a low shot go wide of the net. And Ryan comes down in the first 15 seconds and fires a low shot to the left. And Joe, the first half was definitely dominated by Chazy.
Well, Chazy's playing well. They're going to continue to dominate the game, hopefully. There hasn't been a lot of substitutions on the Chazy part. You're keeping them seeing the same defense in there. Stetson's keeping control of the middle of the field. Kyle Reynolds is stepping up on the stopper position. You're watching Baker going after everything and coming up with the balls. Hopefully they can keep this up for the second half.
Well, it's LeBombard throwing the ball in. He does find Baker. Baker gets by number 20, and Baker lets the shot go way wide right. And Chazy's come out early, peppering the net with some shots. I mean, no real serious shots yet, but they're letting the shot go toward the net, and eventually they'll start zeroing in on that net.
You watch Baker in that last shot. He was a little bit off balance. He was leaning back, and the ball, when you lean back, most of the time the ball is going to go up in the air. You need to get over it just a little bit more and put it down. That's what I try to teach the younger kids, to get over the top of the ball. Unless you want it to go a long distance, to get over the top of the ball and drive it.
Well, right now Trombley fed over from Racine. He's trying to get it to Baker. It's knocked out of bounds. Trombley will take the throw in for Chazy. And he elects to go toward Kenny Boris. Boris controlling the ball. And he has it knocked away, but Boris somehow gains control. He's trying to find somebody. He finds Baker, pushes it to Baker. Baker being challenged, and he pushes it over to Reynolds. Reynolds has it knocked away by number 10, Seymour. And there's an opportunity. Trombley's hustling back, as well as number 16, Boyer, the big goal scorer for Ogdensburg. He pushes it back over to Frary. Frary gets it over to number 20. The shot knocked away by Reynolds. It will go out of bounds. Throw in for Ogdensburg. And Ogdensburg getting their first big rush here in the second half. We are 37 minutes and 34 seconds. Just started the second half. Ogdensburg with the throw in. Boyer with the ball. And it's cleared out by Jason Baker. Sends it up deep into midfield, now into Ogdensburg territory. Kenny Boris giving chase, and the ball's loose, and it is Racine with the ball. He's being challenged, pushes it up to Fields. Fields kind of controls that midfield like Jordan Spiegel did last year for the Eagles.
You watch Stetson Fields. Stetson Fields. There's a shot. Another.
Oh, wow. Ogdensburg dodged a bullet, ripped a shot by Fields off the crossbar. Ryan drills a shot. Lucky made a beautiful save. I won't say he was lucky on that. It was a great save on the goalie, Lucky, and throw in for Ogdensburg. And Ogdensburg dodged a major bullet on that one. Stop, Joe.
They dodged 2 bullets on that one. Stetson Fields come across the middle of the field. I think they were expecting him to pass it off. He drilled it with his left foot. He come around. He had a beautiful shot with a left-footed shot coming across the field. And he's got the nice pass in the corner right now going down to Ryan. Ryan's spreading it out. He's not just going in the middle. Ryan deking a couple of guys, beating him 1, 2, 3, getting knocked off balance. Coach McCullough not happy with that non-call by the ref. I have to agree with him myself. Kind of takes quite a bit to knock Ryan off his feet, and you see it once again. He's been getting clipped quite a bit this year. The refs appear to be letting some stuff go. I don't know if it's due to the fact that they think he ought to score every time he touches the ball, but they got to realize he's still a high school kid.
Well, you know, I said this earlier on these other games. With Nolan's skill, some of these players, they have to resort, when they get beat, they just take them down, right? And Ryan,
what was that call?
I'm not quite sure, but it's Fields in the box. Fields trying to get by Lucky, and it goes off Lucky, and it will be a corner kick for Chazy, and some nice pressure. But a lot of players this year, when no one gets by them, they have to resort what they can go to, and that's taking them down. And a lot of the calls he doesn't get.
Well, I guess he's going to have to get used to that. It appears like it's not right, but that's just going to be the nature of the beast. He'll overcome that, though. He has what it takes to overcome that. He doesn't really get overly excited when he gets taken down the box. He gets up and he plays soccer. I've seen him only a couple of times get frustrated where he might lose his composure a little bit. Knowing his father's would have definitely have not let that go. He's got a little temper also, but Nolan keeps that temper in check.
Tim will appreciate that, Joe.
Oh, I'm sure.
That you bring back some of his 70s attitude. Well, probably
70, early 80s. I know he departed from the men's league a few times early in the season, old Tim. But you know what? He was getting taken down like that, and it's frustrating when you're an offensive player and you get pushed around, you get shoved, you get kicked.
Oh, look at that play from Ryan. Did you see that? He takes one-times it over the Ogdensburg defender, and Nolan Ryan is taking it upon himself, and number 7, Fisher, knocks it out. Go ahead, Joe. Finish your thought.
No, it is frustrating. You watch Stetson Field. He gets hacked in the back of the legs during the course of a game several times, and he's learning now to keep his composure and not let it affect his game, because it just does nothing but help the opposing team. When you lose your head, it affects your physical game. And we definitely need the players in. Stetson the other night was having an altercation with an E-Town player, and he got a yellow card out of it. And it hurts the team. We need him in the middle. You need your better players. You got to keep them on the field.
Well, Coach McCullough does a good job keeping the boys grounded, and Ryan almost another nice play, but Hackett was aware of it this time. He got beat once. Hackett says not twice. Ball controlled by Racine. Ball knocked out by number 5, Pat Dillingham, and it'll be a throw-in for Chazy on the far side with Racine with the throw-in. He's looking for Ryan down on the wing. It goes to Ryan. Ryan being guarded by Hackett. Who's going to win this? Ryan versus Hackett. Ryan gets by Hackett. Ryan pushes it out over to Baker. Knocked away by number 20, fed into the box by Racine, headed back out by the Ogdensburg defense. Ryan sends it over into the box, and it is Reynolds trying to go up, and Boyer from behind checks him, and good call by Bayshard, and that will be a direct kick for Ryan, and I've seen Ryan bend it like Beckham from this distance, Joe.
Nolan Ryan in this win, this might help him. It might play games with the ball. He's got a rocket for a shot, so we'll see what he's going to do with it. If he's going to try to put it on somebody's foot, their head, or just try to go to the net. Try to score a goal, maybe wait for a rebound.
Oh, nice play. Feed to Kenny Boris, who heads it over to Racine. Racine has it in, but Lucky comes up with the save. It wasn't a real hard shot, but there were 3 touches from that direct kick from the Chazy players. And again, it goes back to every head and every pass is done with a purpose.
Stetson Fields just did a beautiful job taking that ball off that Ogdensburg player's foot. He does that. He's quick. He's basically like a pickpocket out there. He's got quick feet, and he knows how to use them. He uses his body to shield the ball, to come up with it, and he does nice things with the ball once he does come up with it.
Well, we're approaching the 31-minute mark here in the second half. 9 minutes have gone by. Again, Chazy is putting the pressure. They had their most glorious opportunity early in the second half with a Stetson Fields bullet off the crossbar, rebound to Ryan. Ryan lays a hard shot that Lucky was there for the save, and Ogdensburg dodge going down 2-0. So they're only down 1-0. And like you said earlier, Joe, with the game being 1-0 and Chazy not scoring, the confidence level of Ogdensburg picks up as every minute goes by.
Well, that's normal with any team. You keep it within striking distance. You hope to get a goal or 2. Right now the shots are 15-1 Chazy's favor with 31 minutes left. They have to hope for some more opportunities than what they've been getting. They have to give themselves the opportunities, but Chazy's defense is playing stellar. They're keeping it in the Ogdensburg end on both sides in the first half and this half. Ogdensburg's trying to press up now, but I think Chazy's just playing extremely well. As you can tell, they're hustling after the balls. They're coming up with the 50-50s. They're making things happen.
Well, you know, it was a wonderful defensive teamwork from Chazy on Boyer. He had an opportunity down there in the corner, and the defense stood up again. And I think Boyer is probably getting a little frustrated being the top goal getter, being hounded by that swarming Chazy defense.
That's what they do well. They like I said, they've been getting better and better. They do the diamond defense configuration, and that defense there it works because they cover each other. It can be a swarming defense. They contain very well when they get somebody down. Their containment. They don't always have to take the ball. They can contain the offensive person going down, slow them up, giving themselves time to get back on defense and to make the plays. But they're getting much better, much more aggressive when they have to be, and playing smart and laying back when they don't have to be aggressive.
Well, right now on the offensive end, it's Racine way on the right side. He sends it into the box. It goes off number 7, and there's Fields, and he lets a shot rip from the 18 over the net. It will be a goal kick for Ogdensburg. But again, good ball movement for Chazy. But, you know, Jake Hackett down there for Ogdensburg has played a strong defensive game. He's been kind of guarding Nolan Ryan most of the game, and he's done a good job with it.
He's been getting a workout. He's gonna remember this game when he goes home. And Nolan's been all over the field. He's been on the right, he's been on the left, he's been down the middle. They're trying to get the ball to Ryan, and they're working it extremely well. There goes another corner ball from Fields. That's what they do well. They work it well. They put it where the ball has to be.
Well, this is a good game for both teams. It's a tight match, even though Chazy has dominated the possession game here. It's been a good game for both teams, and they both will build on this as the season progresses and as they go into the playoffs and regional play. And there's a throw-in from Ryan, and the ball is out. Trombley trying to get control. Trombley, it looked like a wedge shot from Trombley, wide of the net. The ball was bouncing, and it's hard to keep it down when the ball is bouncing like that.
Well, at least he was using his left foot, though. You know, you find some of the players, even at the varsity level, they have a tendency to go with their strong foot, which for most kids it's their right foot. He feels comfortable enough to take shots like Fields does with the left shot. Ryan does it all the time. You're watching the younger kids, if you're watching this game here, to take some heed of what these kids are doing. They're using both sides of both feet, using them well.
Right now it is Fields with the ball. He's got Racine down on the right side, but he'll work his way toward the middle. He's got Boris, he's got Ryan, he's got LeBombard. And Fields controlling the play. Nice move by number 20. Pushes it in, tried to hit Kenny Boris. And Kenny Boris just missed trapping that ball, but if he did, he might have put that one away.
Yeah, he just missed that by half a step. That was just a pass, just a little too much. And there's a push that doesn't get called again. But you're gonna expect there's a late whistle. I knew he'd come with that sooner or later.
I mean, it had to. I mean, you would think. I mean, that was.
We had advantage with possession, and they're not going to call that. And that's a smart play, I guess, on the ref. They do that if you have possession, an advantage. They're not going to call something like that is not injurious to the player.
We know, in fairness to the refs, we do have quite a vantage point up here.
That is true. It's always best referees are in the stands and in the.
Broadcast booth.
Always.
Well, nice effort there. I don't want to take anything away from Brendan Johnson, number 10 for Ogdensburg. He came up through the field, worked through a couple defensive players, got a shot off on Beeman. Beeman came up with the save, but a good individual effort by Brendan Johnson for Ogdensburg.
You're watching the wind play a factor here also. The ball seems to be on the opposite side of the field. I think it's probably going to stay like that.
You may have to do it with the 20-mile-an-hour gale wind.
That's it. The wind is going to affect it like that. We have a couple of subs coming in for Chazy right now. Kyle Baker and Jordan Barrier.
That would actually be Ben Baker, Kyle's brother.
Excuse me. I get him mixed up just like I used to get mixed up with my brother.
That's right. Your brother George was definitely an all-star back in the 70s for the Chazy team. And something's going on here. On who? There's a yellow card on an Ogdensburg player. I'm not sure. It must have been words or something. And that's Jake Hackett, the guy that we said has been playing very well for Ogdensburg.
Yeah, you find frustration sometimes. They get frustrated. They get beat, 3 or 4 times by a couple of different players. They start getting frustrated, and it takes away from their game.
Unsportsmanlike called by Larry Bayshard. So I'm not sure what he must have pushed somebody or kicked him or something. But it wasn't language. It was unsportsmanlike. Okay, Ryan with the throw-in, and he told him trying to get into that wind. Fields trying to control, but here comes a dodge, or Brendan Johnson, I should say. Trombley rushing back, and there goes that diamond defense. Johnson hustling back, Trombley giving chase, as well as LaFountain. LaFountain trying to contain, and it's coming over. Baker will head it over to Trombley. Trombley will head it over to, it looks like Barrier. Barrier and Brendan Johnson. Johnson has the height advantage over Barrier. He pushes it back, and Trombley sends it up over to Fields. Fields with the ball, gets by one Ogdensburg player, sends it up, and it goes a little too far over to Lucky. He tried to hit Kenny Boris, but a little too far. And Lucky will come up with the kick. He sends a punt toward midfield, just shy of midfield into Chazy territory. Trombley heads it. It goes off Johnson over to Trombley. Trombley pushes it over to Barrier. Barrier tries to find Jason Baker. Baker slips, loses the ball, and it goes back to Trombley. He tries to hit Barrier, goes up. It actually goes to Ryan. Ryan being guarded by number 5, Dillingham, pushes over to Barrier. Barrier back to Ryan. Just a nice, unselfish play from the Chazy players at this point. And the ball is now controlled by Ogdensburg, sent up. Trombley heads it over to Baker, but it will go over to Fields. Fields with the ball, trying to be contained by the Ogdensburg defense, but he gets by one player. Fields with his footwork trying to work toward the 18, and 2 players had to stop him, and they did. It was number 7 Fisher and number 3 Frary. Right now Ogdensburg trying to gain control, and it goes to their big guy Boyer, and it is LaFountain, but you got Reynolds and lots more rushing back on defense, and there's that diamond defense that you're talking about, Joe.
Yeah, you watch them come back. He still has possession of the ball. LaFountain fell down. Nice shot. Good opportunity for them. But you saw him, he had 2 defenders converging on him. He had to get rid of that ball really, really fast.
Well, we have Dodge, Sweeney, and Wing coming in for Ogdensburg right now. We are approaching the 24-minute mark. It is 1-0 to Chazy. They outshot Ogdensburg 17-2, and the corner kicks favor Chazy 2 at 6-0. But that was probably the best opportunity that Ogdensburg had, and Brendan Johnson sent it over the net.
Yeah, well, you see why he's the top scorer in their section. He's got some skills. He's got some speed, some size. I'm not sure if he faces this type of defense. We're up in that section consistently, but you can see he knows what he's going to be doing with the ball. He just made a beautiful cross into there that was very dangerous for Chazy.
Well, it is Kenny Boris with the ball. He's trying to find somebody. He tried to find Baker, but he gets good hustle. There's that hustle from Kenny Boris over to Baker now. Baker looking to let the shot rip. No, he tries to get it to Ryan, and it's Ben Baker. He's going to try to get a shot off, and the ball is cleared out. And it is his cousin, Jason Baker, back to Perry Latchmore. Latchmore with the ball. Latchmore gets by one defender, pushes it over to Ryan. Ryan is into the box, trying to get into the box, being guarded very closely. Pushes it over to Fields. Back to Ryan. Nice give and go from Fields to Ryan. And Ryan lets the shot rip on a beautiful feed from Stetson Fields. If you're watching the countdown, we're down to 7 goals, 2-0 Chazy.
Lucky 7 we're at. He might make it a little bit quicker than what people think. That was some beautiful, beautiful passing. Chazy was having trouble finishing earlier. They brought it back out. Went back in with some beautiful passing to each other, and Stetson laid a beautiful pass in his foot. You notice Ryan again, he didn't blast the ball.
Very unselfish play, both teams. But you see the ball, it was almost like a knuckleball.
Yeah.
The ball curved unlucky, and it was like, I don't think he was expecting that.
No, Ryan realized he could take some of the mustard off it and put it where the keeper was going to have a tough time getting to it, and it worked. It worked.
Well, Nolan Ryan is now 7 goals away from the state record. He scored 2 goals off a very strong Ogdensburg team, a Section B team from the western part of the state, I should say. And right now it's Ben Baker controlling the ball from Kyle Reynolds. Baker over to Fields. Fields got Baker. He's got Baker to his right, Baker to his left. But it goes to Jason Baker. Baker pushes it over to Galen Trombley. He goes over to Barrier. There's the pass work from Chazy. They move the ball across the field. They do it with precision.
Yeah, it's not all about north and south like in the old days. It's east, west, the soccer. Move it wherever the least resistance is. Chazy sometimes can pass a little bit too much. When they get down in the 18-yard line, we've always been accused of that, I guess, but that just comes with the unselfishness of the players and the skill. Sometimes the players do need to shoot a little bit more, become a little bit more selfish.
Well, if Chazy can hang on to win this game, and the ball just eludes Ryan on a nice feed from Kyle LaFountain, but if Chazy can hold on for the next 22 minutes and win the game, it will have been a phenomenal week for this team. Again, beating an undefeated Westport team, beating their chief rival, the Elizabethtown Lewis Lions, and then taking out the Ogdensburg Blue Devils. That's a pretty good week for anybody's standards.
Coach McCullough does this during this part of the season. He brings Ogdensburg down. We'll go up there one year. They come down here. He'll do this. He'll stretch them out, or make them work hard. Put several games during the course of a week. Get them a little bit tired. Then they have a week off. Then they'll start in the end of their season again with some fresh legs. Coach McCullough has been doing this for the last couple of seasons, and it seems to work.
Well, I'll tell you, you say take a week off. Next week they got 3 games. They were scheduled to play Keene on Monday, but they moved that game to Saturday of next week from today, actually at 7 o'clock. And on Wednesday, I think they're back down in Willsboro. Friday they have Crown Point here, and then Keene. So they go in a 4-day span, playing 3 games, and he'll give them 2 tough weeks in a row, and it's like you say, that just builds them up for the playoffs and regional play.
Yeah, it's good to put some pressure on your team like that. Let them develop together, a little bit more harder teams. Let them get tired. Let them get a little tired, then give them a nice break. Coach McCullough has been very successful doing that.
Well, it is the Chazy Express coming down again. Ryan with the throw-in on the right side. He goes back to Trombley. Trombley will control. He lost one in toward the net. It is Lucky and Boris, and Lucky comes up with the ball, but good hustle by Boris. And it is Johnson with the ball. He pushes it up to Corey Wing. Wing trying to get it to Boyer, but Trombley knocks it away, and Reynolds is taken down, and it was good sportsmanship there from the Ogdensburg player. I don't believe he did that on purpose. It was just momentum.
Yeah, that's a controversial yellow card coming from the ref. I don't think there was anything malicious.
No, I don't think so either. He just couldn't stop.
Things like that happen. I mean, the number 14, he picked him up off the ground, and there was no animosity coming up from Baker.
No, not at all. That Corey Wing gets a yellow card, but as Joe says, a little controversial. I don't think he deserved that. Calvin, you're looking here to my right. What'd you think?
I was following the ball, so I didn't really see the contact, but I rather see the refs err on the side of caution and let things go. So I've seen too many games where they let things go, and all of a sudden we've got a serious problem. So if you're going to err on the side of caution, he'll be back in there. He's just a yellow card.
Yeah, it's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the world. Just don't get another one.
Right.
All right, it is Johnson with the ball. He pushes it over to one of his players. Latchmore trying to get on Dodge. Dodge pushes it over, but it's Baker. Baker controlling. Baker with the ball trying to get it to Reynolds. And good play by both sides, and that would be a trip on Baker. He's got to run back. That was definitely a trip on Baker. And it is Frary for Ogdensburg with the kick right now. Ogdensburg setting up on the offensive end here. Chazy getting back on the defensive end. And Frary lets a shot go, and Latchmore gets his foot out and pushes it up. It is Kenny Boris and Frary battling for the ball. It's Kenny Boris, the speed of Kenny Boris. Ball gets a little too far away, and number 7, Fisher, wisely sends it out on the left-hand side, because if he got by Fisher, it would have been Boris against Lucky.
That is true, and you're watching the Chazy defense. You're see Galen Trombley on the right side. See him pinching in. He doesn't stop at the halfway mark. He had a few plays ago, he had a really nice cross, a dangerous cross that the keeper came up with. And you watch the Chazy defense. They don't just play defense. They come up. They're part of the offense. They try to create something. They're constantly trying to create something.
And Latchmore controlling the ball, trying to get it way over to Trombley. Trombley, it was too far out. And it'll be number 27, Whitcomb, taking the throw in for Ogdensburg, but number 20 checking in for Ogdensburg right now. And coming off, it looks to be number 1, Zach Dodge, coming off for Ogdensburg. Boy, the wind is crazy out here today, Joe.
You're watching the referee switch positions here too. That normally doesn't happen during the course of a game. You might see him during halftime, but the referees, for some reason, are switching sides of the fields.
Actually, I've seen that. Usually they try to do it about the halfway point of each half. Yeah, they try to switch sides.
I've never noticed that.
I think it's probably good. I think it's just good to give them each a different side of the field. And,
sure.
They may see things differently than the other person.
Offsides, yeah. He's got a call.
And it gives the fans somebody new to holler at.
Oh, yes.
Well, Calvin, here in the George Brendler Field, the fans don't scream at all at the referees. It's just very, very quiet over there.
Well, sometimes the visiting fans, not today, but sometimes the visiting fans come in and holler.
And there might be a few Chazy fans thrown in there, sprinkled in there. But, of course, we're over here. We don't hear it when the wind's blowing like 30 miles an hour crossway. But if it's coming this way, we pick up a few words.
This is why most soccer teams have gone to having the benches on one side and the fans on the other, so the coach can coach and the fans can be fans.
That is true. And it's Kenny Boris on a feed from Baker. I guess a good no call. The ball goes to Lucky, and he'll come out with the punt. And he sends a nice punt into the Chazy territory, controlled by number 3, Frary. Frary being chased by Fields, and he goes to the right side over to Sweeney. Sweeney being guarded by Latchmore. Latchmore running to the ball. Latchmore is down. And trip. Bayshard calls trip. I don't know, Joe. Did you see a trip? I think the trip was on Perry.
I think the trip was on Perry at that time. I got to think that was a hometown call. We don't like to get him here to Chazy too often, but we'll take him when we do.
You got to recognize that guy's running by, that guy's overlapping. You got to stay with him.
All right, here comes Latchmore with the kick for Chazy. We're approaching the 16-minute mark, and there's a souvenir for somebody. And Latchmore kicks it out of bounds, and number 9 and number 28 coming in for the Blue Devils, Brian Seymour and Brent Rabidou coming into the game for the Ogdensburg Blue Devils. Number 6, Joe Denoncourt will take the throw in for Ogdensburg here.
Looks like it appears Ogdensburg is trying to get some fresh legs up on the front line. They're pulling out their 2 starters. Maybe they're trying to get some fresh wheels up front to try to take advantage of possibly Chazy's defense.
Oh, what a feed from Ryan to Fields. And there's a push. And it will be a direct kick. And again, Ryan was taken down. Good call by Bayshard. You can't say that Chazy had the advantage there because the ball went off the foot of Fields.
That's true. Ryan's going to need some Bengay at the end of his game. He's been taken down a few times pretty hard.
Well, he's getting ready for the kick here. We'll see if it's a set play or if he's just going to try to bend it. And he tries to bend the far corner. Oh, what a play. Was that was Kenny Boris, right?
Kenny Boris, and the keeper made a beautiful...
Oh, my, what a nice feed. And Boris had it. That ball was going to find the back of the net if it wasn't for Lucky.
The keeper was right on top of that. He played that the only way he could, and it was to perfection. He knocked it out. He didn't no rebound out to the Chazy offense. He put it over the net. I don't know if that was inadvertent or not, but he got it out of play. Was what he had to do.
Well, it is Fields with the corner kick for Chazy, and he will look to send it into the box. A low kick, actually, and it is controlled by number 5, Dillingham for Ogdensburg, who sends it up, and Reynolds taps it, and Trombley giving chase. He pushes it over to Latchmore, and it's a push on Trombley, or against Trombley, and it will be a kick.
Against Ogdensburg.
It's against Ogdensburg, right? And
Ogdensburg appears to be getting a little bit frustrated. They're starting to get a little bit physical, more physical than what they were earlier in the game.
I don't think they expected to be outshot 20-2 at this point of the game.
I don't think anybody expected this, to tell you the truth. It's been a very, very good, clean game by Chazy.
And Ogdensburg basically.
Yeah, but I don't mean as far as like the chippiness, but as far as a clean game, passing. You know, the Chazy passes are crisp. Their feeds are wonderful. Good through balls. They're receiving it well. They're seeing the field. You see them. They're getting better and better.
Well, we have a fair crowd. I think it would have been a later game. I think we talked about this earlier. A lot of people are doing their lawn work and stuff on this beautiful day. But we have a fair crowd here at the George Brendler Field today on the 22nd. Trombley sends it over to Baker. Baker control and passes it over to Kyle Reynolds, who lets it go to LaFountain. LaFountain sends it up. It is Kenny Boris trying to head it, but it gets over his head. And it is Boris and Ryan. Ryan trying to look for the hat trick. And Ryan, outside his foot, just misses the right side. But, credit goes to Lucky, who cut the angle down.
That was true. He had a defensive. The defensive guy was all over him too, but he didn't. He wasn't bringing him down or anything. Ryan busted by him, and he missed the shot, unfortunately.
But again, it was Lucky came out and he played the angle, and Ryan could have went left or right. He elected to go to the right side, and he just missed the post on the far side. And goal kick for Ogdensburg right now, and number 20 just boots it into the Chazy end, but it goes out of bounds, and Trombley will take the throw in.
Ryan will be thinking about that again tonight. I have a feeling, knowing that he missed that easy. That's probably one of the easiest shots he's had this year to get at the net. He hasn't had a whole lot of easy, quote-unquote, goals this year. He's earned them.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. And right now it's Fields trying to control, and Baker hits the ball, controlled by Ogdensburg. The ball is going toward the net, and it is Beeman calls for it. A good shield from Latchmore holding off the Ogdensburg striker coming in there, and that would have been number 20-something. I guess I need my glasses here, but number 23, it would have been Knowlton, Jake Knowlton, and a good play by Latchmore to shield Knowlton from the ball from Jacob Beeman. But right now we're back in the Ogdensburg end with Stetson Fields making some moves, and he sends it wide of the net, and I thought he might have tried to hit Ben Baker to the left, but that was actually a shot.
You see Beeman, bringing it back to the keep Beeman, you see Beeman do a nice job back there as a keeper. He doesn't just kick the ball and get rid of it as soon as he receives it. He waits for his team to move up, waits for them to set up, and then he gets the ball to them. He doesn't rush it, because he really doesn't have to. There's no pressure on him there. But he lets his team get set up. He's done a very commendable job in being a keeper for the last 2 years. And you watch him let his team get set up and to go on to give him the offense. So I'm saying the transition game, it's so important.
We just saw it right there.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Oh, Ryan sends a beautiful feed over to Fields. Fields puts it over the net. But boy, what a tandem of Fields and Ryan. They do complement each other very well out there.
They look for each other consistently, and they get the ball to each other. They get the ball to their teammates. It's nice to see that they work very well together, and they're going to do nothing but improve as the season goes on.
Right there. I mean, Ryan could have probably tried a shot there. And but Fields was in a better position, and Ryan picked up on that and got it to Fields. So again, it was just an impressive play by Nolan Ryan.
Nolan Ryan, he's on the verge of breaking the state record for goals, but he's been very, very unselfish with the ball during his time.
Oh, he just missed enough. Boy, you can see him right now. He is frustrated with himself. On a nice feed, it was a give and go. Ryan to Boris, Boris back to Ryan, and actually he could have probably waited another second to get a better control of that ball.
That's true, but I have a feeling he's not used to having himself wide open like that. He might be used to have more pressure on him. You know, I find if the big games and the more pressure Ryan has on him, the better he usually responds.
Well, yeah, that would be true. And then, like I say, he'll be upset with himself. There's no doubt about that.
He'll be getting some razzes from Big Brother after this game.
Well, yeah, but at the end of the day, it's Ryan 2, Ogdensburg nothing.
That is always true.
You know, we look at this as going, what happened to Nolan? Well, the guy scored 2 goals. Well, actually 3 now. You knew he was going to put that in. 3 times. There's no way that Nolan was going to miss that a 3rd time. So now, if you're, again, we'll keep the countdown here. We're now 6 goals away from the state record. I'll tell you, Joe, coming into this game, I figured Nolan might score, but I never expected a hat trick.
No, I don't think he did either. I don't think he's looking for a hat trick. I don't think he's even looking to score these goals. Knowing Nolan, he's he's a quiet, shy kid. He's the last one that's going to tell you how many goals he scores.
Well, you just saw there, he just scored the goal. Did you see any flamboyancy there? He runs back to a spot on the field and says, let's get the game going. And let's give credit to Stetson Fields. Again, it was a feed from Fields over to Ryan. And this time, 3rd time's a charm. Ryan finds the back of the net.
He keeps his poise. He keeps it all within perspective as usual. I got to bring something up. He and Kyle Fountain this past winter, they were coming in working with my young kids, showing them different moves, showing them how to play and stuff. He and Kyle Fountain. And, you know, the younger kids, they look up to them, but you never saw any Nolan showboating at all. You know, you have to drag words out of the kid. You know, that's what you have to do. You have to drag words out of them. But they did a wonderful job with my younger kids explaining not just the facts of being good soccer players, but being good kids, being good students. They went over the whole gamut. It's not just about soccer. It's about the whole ball of wax, you know, as they say. And Coach McCullough does require that of the kids.
Well, you know what's nice? He just brought in the 9th grader Caleb Snide on the far side for Trombley, and so didn't come in Jordan Barrier. So those were the 2 underclassmen that made it up to the varsity level for Chazy. And, you know, they got 9 minutes left in the game here, and they're in against a quality team in Ogdensburg. So, again, that's going to help them as their progression goes.
That's what you want to see. You want to see the seasoning. You bring your younger players in when the game's
dangerous.
What a nice shot that he had. Beautiful shot.
From Frary, that was a dangerous shot.
That was a beautiful shot. That was definitely their best chance, and it might make Mr. Beeman stay just a little bit more keen on what's going on out there. Not saying he wasn't, but that he took a quick direct shot, and he was caught Beeman a little bit off balance.
Well, that was a tough shot. I don't know if any goalie could have got their hand on that one. That was a bullet going in there, and Chazy dodged the bullet on that one.
Oh, yeah. You see him, here comes Ryan off now.
Yeah, Nolan Ryan, he had a workman-like day today. He scored 3 goals, and I think he might even had an assist or 2.
Yeah, 3 goals, and it could have been 6. You know, I mean, that's the nature of the beast sometimes. Coach McCullough is smart to pull him out now. There's no sense in running it up. There's no sense in taking a chance on an injury. It's just... Let's play the rest of the game. Let's have a good, clean game. Give some of these younger kids some time on the field and let them see how it is to play against a good quality varsity program. You're watching the Barrier kid out there. The Barrier kid is, I can't say enough of him. He's going to be one of the good ones. You know, you can see it in him.
Even in the Snide kid.
Yeah, definitely Caleb Snide. Caleb Snide, and you know what's nice is to see is just the other night I was talking to Nolan Ryan and Kyle Fountain. Just not during a game or anything. We're just shooting the breeze, and Caleb Snide comes over, and you can tell they get along. They just scored a goal.
There's a nice play, nice shot, and the shutout. Beeman loses the shutout, and if that's number 20. I got to find out who that is because I don't have him on the roster, but I think I have a backup roster here, and it's Nick Wallace. Nick Wallace. I think it's Mike Wallace' grandkid. Just kidding. But Nick Wallace, we have a second, actually, and number 27, Whitcomb gets the assist. We have a roster that Joe downloaded from the internet, and then the team gave us a roster too. And I'm sure Beeman's a little disappointed he lost a shutout there.
Yeah, but you're watching where that goal came from too. It came nothing against Caleb Stein. He's a little younger. The ball did come from that side. He pulled Galen out, and Caleb's going to have to realize that every ball that comes down is always a scoring threat. And I know he knows that, but he's going to get better. He's going to get more seasoned. This is the way you learn. And it's like I was saying before they scored that goal, you watched, there was Nolan and Kyle where we were talking, and Caleb comes over, and they were good-naturedly kidding him. You know, a lot of times you'll find where an underclassman, there's some issue, they have issues, well, I'm a senior. There's none of that on this team.
No.
There's absolutely none of that. They get along extremely well, all of the kids.
And you know, a Caleb Snide and a Jordan Berry look up to these upperclassmen, and I think they're just thrilled to be on the same field with them.
Oh, sure. They should be, and they're going to appreciate it years down the road.
Well, for them, years down the road is next year, because Coach loses 8 players this year, 8 starters.
It's going to be an interesting season next year. People said this was going to be, quote unquote, a rebuilding year. I don't know if Chazy has rebuilding years. I think they have building years. You know, they always seem to have players who step up.
Well, you know, I've heard this from before. Many players, they say most teams rebuild, and it just seems like Chazy retools.
That's the short and the long of it, and it's a lot of the credit comes from Coach McCullough. The system works. You know, it's hard to keep a program going year after year, especially in a D school. A D schools normally you have classes. You'll have some classes that are very good. Most of the time you'll find your teams that are up there that are good sports programs. They're quote unquote senior teams. You know, they have a lot of seniors and they've been playing a long time. They have rebuilding years. Chazy, it doesn't seem to affect them as much as most D schools. In the soccer program, basketball, baseball, it's a little different. But in the soccer programs, it really doesn't seem to affect them as much as you see it affect the other schools.
Well, nice play there by Jason Baker. He pushes it up over to Eric Martin. Martin goes back to the barrier. Jordan Berry trying to get a shot off, and Nolan Ryan's back at the midfield, just trying to control the play. Sends it wide over, and Ben Baker offsides. I'm not sure how that could have happened. He wasn't pulled off. He just was offsides.
Yeah, you're finding Coach McCullough giving Stetson Fields a little break, putting Ryan in the middle to keep the game from getting out of control, because they were putting some pressure on. Ogdensburg was putting some pressure on Chazy team. And you have Barrier working in there, a newer kid, nice from behind the leg from Barrier. Ben Baker taking a shot, getting blocked. You're finding Chazy. You can see the difference when he pulls Stetson Fields and Ryan off the field at the same time against a good quality team. You can see what happens. I mean, you lose 2 good quality players in the middle of any team, you're going to see a difference, you know.
Well, at the D level, you see that because, you know, not too many D teams can go real deep. So if you get injuries into the season, it can affect you definitely late in the season.
It definitely will affect you, you know. It will affect you. Barrier scrambling in the middle. He's playing against some bigger kids. You push him off the ball a little bit easier. Nice shot. Good try. Good first time. Good try the first time at the. You see Barrier trying to muscle it in, and he doesn't have the meat on his bones yet, being an 8th grader, to push it through like a Kenny Bulris would at this time. Nice ball. Nice through.
Ben Baker.
See, Ben Baker's got to unload that with his left foot.
Yeah, but you know, he went outside foot with his right foot, which is not a bad try.
Not a bad one if you're gonna push it towards that far post.
Yeah, so I mean that was good effort from Baker.
That far post.
I'm sure he wished he had a little more meat on it, but
yes, definitely. He's had a couple of chances, but the left foot is so important to the game. It takes away 50% of your attributes if you're not using it.
Well, we're approaching the 3-minute mark here into the game, left in the game, and it's 23 shots to 5 right now, favoring Chazy. They lead 3-1. The corner kicks are 7-0, and you know that says a lot too when you keep the other team from taking corner kicks, because there's a lot of scoring opportunities when that happens.
Yeah, you watched Nolan Ryan just a second ago, hustling still to the ball, but the game's in hand, but. You know, he keeps his composure, takes the game, plays the midfield. He plays wherever the coach puts him. You know, he with equal skill and enthusiasm. But it's basically his team this year. You know, it's his team. He's been playing on this varsity team for several years.
And he's a 5-year player.
He's a 5-year player. He and Kyle have found. You know, It's their team, what you quote unquote. You know, it's their senior years, and they've been pretty much perennial all-stars up and down the line. You know, Nolan Ryan, he's on the verge of breaking the record, and he missed 10 games of his senior year due to injuries.
That would have been his freshman year.
That was his freshman year. Excuse me.
10 games he
10
missed.
games out of 10 games he missed that year. And Nolan Ryan, for a couple of years when Chazy had the championship teams, he was sitting out half of the games. You know, he was not playing. You know, and
well, he did his 8th grade year, but his 9th grade year, if you remember, he had that header from the feed from Seymour that won the state championship.
That won the state championship, yeah. He was in the midfield due to the injury to the MVP of the year, Corey Lewis, who just got, I saw in the paper, he got an award for,
Player of the Week,
Division 3. You know, actually it was Region 3 for the community colleges down there. He's playing keeper, a position he never played in high school. You know,
that kid's a stud, though. He's an athlete.
Yeah, that shows his versatility, his athleticism. You know, he and Jake are playing for Colbiskill. He and Jake Spiegel.
They're in town today. They're playing Clinton Community College today at 1.
Ah, no kidding. That would have been an interesting game to see how they do with the college. They both, I guess, are doing extremely well. And Jake Spiegel went to the season this year injured through a car accident he had this summer. So he was I'm sure, a little bit more out of shape than what he wanted to be, especially playing at the college level. But, you know, he's young, he's tough, he'll be able to, he's getting back in shape. It appears to be he's getting a whole pile of playing time, from what I understand. Talking to Staub, doing really well. He scored a couple of goals, and they beat a ranked team, I believe it was Herkimer. Herkimer, who was a perennial community college ranked team in the country. They beat them. I don't believe Colbiskill has been beat yet this year. I think they're undefeated.
7-0.
They're 7-0. You know, they're doing really well, and Chazy's both kids are contributing a whole lot to that game that they're playing.
Well, this game has come to a close, and Chazy, I think, Joe, a very surprising, dominating victory over the Ogdensburg Blue Devils, 3-1 today.
Yeah, surprising. Yes, because they're coming off a big game with an E-Town. Sometimes you have a letdown, and they don't seem to have let up any of the enthusiasm for the game. And a lot of times you come off E-Town, you beat them, you have a little bit of a letdown, but they played extremely well today. It was nice to see a good game by both teams. It was good.
Well, Joe, it was fun having you calling the game here today. Hopefully it's a regular routine with you. You know, with Staub, with his kids moving on, it is, you know, he's got to watch his kids play other places. So it's nice that you stepped in for Staub today. Calvin on the camera. It is the 22nd of September. Chazy beats Ogdensburg in non-league action 3-1. And as the Cast Iron boys like to say, that's the way it was in downtown Chazy.